on our YouTube channel, so with that as well. Okay, let's play. Congratulations to all players who made the finals, and off we go. And here's toss number 1. This man argued that the Cherokee Nation was a foreign nation in the sense of our Constitution and law, and Cherokee Nation in Georgia. This man with Daniel Webster argued for the defense in the U.S. Supreme Court of Interstate Commerce against William Ward. William Ward, 6 points. Quickly to Shridley for 6. Toss up 2. This test was first published in the scientific community in 1836. A namesake chemist first developed this test after being called by the prosecution, leading to the acquittal of John Bogle. This test's first practical application occurred in 1840 in France after a wife was accused of poisoning her husband, Charles. After Mathieu Boffin used this test to detect a poison in her husband's bloodstream, Marie Lafarge was sentenced to life imprisonment. For the points, it made this highly sensitive test used in forensic toxicology to detect arsenic. Time, this is the Marsh test. Toss of 3. This headline was the most notorious product of newsroom culture, which awarded a tin hat to Tom Petley, who was addressed as commander for the duration of the conflict. Headlines preceding this one from the same paper's coverage included Will Smash 'em and Stick It Up Your Junta. Rupert Murdoch personally overruled editor Kelvin Mackenzie's suggestion to substitute "Did 1,200 Archies die?" Gotcha for 4 points to Robert. Toss of 4. Later joined by William Lewis and Richard Peters, this man was the first judge on the court of the District of Pennsylvania. This signatory of the Declaration of Independence was a member of the Continental Marine Committee, which introduced a resolution that led him to provide a design for only a quarter cask of Republic wine. For the points, identified as founding author known for the arrangement of stars and stripes in his early designs for the American flag. -1. Time, this is Francis Hopkinson. Toss of 5. This emperor called off an attack on Chen after hearing that its emperor Xuan was said to have died. This emperor replaced the system established by Chong Chun in Cao Wei that gave government officials one of 9 ranks for the procedure that would come to rely on the 8-legged essay. The Imperial Civil Service exam was instituted by this emperor, who led a campaign against the Goguryeo. He oversaw a project that aimed to improve the efficiency of grain transportation throughout China. For the points, say it again, is correct for 4. That is Parker for 4. Emperor Wen. Toss of 6. This man's inborn disposition is blamed for his actions in a satirical defense by Mark Twain. This commander oversaw a victory at Columbia, after which he was tasked with organizing the capture of the self-proclaimed president under the Malolos Constitution. Funston for 6. Again to Shridley. Sorry? How do you want to say that? Shriek. Okay, Shriek. Toss of 7. 2 days after the technology was presented to this president, Saint-Malo became the site of the Minitel service, a forerunner to the internet. A 30-year period of economic growth known as Les Temps Glorieux, -2, of Les Temps Glorieux came to an end under the presidency of this man, who worked with Helmut Schmidt to help establish the European monetary system. This man received nearly 51% of the vote in one election against the socialist candidate François Mitterrand. For the points, he was French president from 1974 to 1981. -1. Time, this is Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. Toss of 8. This event's planners adopted the name Righteous Army and adopted an earlier event slogan with the password "Revere the Emperor, Destroy the Traitors."
February 26th, isn't it?
6 points. Toss of 9. One man with this name is the namesake of a trio of ivory triptychs, including individual examples named for Charles Bourdelle and Julius Bernard. John Corpus was appointed to lead an eastern campaign waged by the first emperor of this name, who, though not vassal, waged a war with Bulgaria. The title Lakapenos was given to a ruler of -2 was given to a ruler of this name, another of whom was served by
Romanos.
Romanos is good for 5 points to Drew. Toss of 10, and we'll verify the scores. During this war, Autoretus allegedly cut off the hands of men under Gisco and buried them alive in pits. Mathos was killed during it. 6 points. Okay, that's 10.
So I have Nicholas at 0, Drew at 5, Shree at 12, Parker at 4, Evan at -1, Robert at 11.
Okay, checks with what's on the monitor. Toss of 11. An 1890 Broadway adaptation of L'Etoile with this title starred Francis Wilson. An annual festival of this name held in Hilo honors a man who oversaw the restoration of the hula and other cultural traditions. Kalakaua of Hawaii was often referred to by this epithet, which was also used to describe a Restoration era king who, though married to Henrietta Maria, fathered numerous illegitimate children with mistresses. For the points, prompt, I need. That's fine, actually. Mary Monarch is fine. Yeah, points to for 4. In 1944, Faustino Espinosa Navarro oversaw the historical reconstruction of a festival dedicated to this deity. According to legend, this deity, whose name is derived from the Puino language, once ordered a capital city to be built where a golden wedge entered the earth. Martin de Murua depicted a brother of Huayina and Punky worshiping this deity at Corapan. Inti is good for 5 points. Parker. Toss of 13. Reverend Eleazar Thomas was among the casualties of this conflict, during which a man known as the curly-headed doctor was a leader. In this conflict, fighting occurred at a stronghold in what is currently Moffett's National Monument. The Battle of Lost River occurred during this conflict, in which Edward good for 5. Toss of 14. Every 4 years, this battle is commemorated with the August 7th proclamation of one country's president at the Palacio de Nariño, taking place roughly 2 weeks after the Battle of Vargas Swamp. This battle led to the flight of Viceroy Juan de Samano. Jose Barriero led the for 5 points. Toss of 15. One ruler of this dynasty overstruck coins of the western satrap king Nahapana with portraits of himself. That ruler of this dynasty also oversaw restoration efforts at the Sanchi Stupa in modern-day Madhya Pradesh. According to the Puranas, this dynasty defeated the Kanvas in 28 BC, and this dynasty was once ruled by Vasishtiputra Pulomavi before its end in the 200s AD.
Is that the Obama dynasty?
Good for 4 points. 16. The first Republican Party presidential platform attacked this document's highwayman's plea that right makes right. Pierre Soulet was the primary architect. 6 points. Toss of 17. This film popularized an association of the central character with the quote, "Whoever will come to us with a sword, from a sword will perish." Hermann Bauk, who held the non-chess title of Grand Master, appears in this film, in which Gavrilo advised for the hand of Olga. Sergei Prokofiev wrote the score for this 1938 film.
Lieutenant GA.
-2 for this 1938 film, which begins with the conquest of Pskov and features 5 points. Toss of 18. Traditions surrounding this ruler parallel those of Ogier the Dane and Constantine XI. After this non-Frenchman's death in 1578, his subjects remembered him as the desired lord. 6 points. Toss of 19. This man's son succeeded him in the United States Senate in 1965. This man's political machine, according to John Gunter in the 1947 edition of Inside USA, was the most urbane and genteel dictatorship in America. During the presidential election of 1960, this Virginian received yes for 5. Potentially 1 away from the win. Toss of 20. A judge refused to convict a mob of the murder of Francis McIntosh and believed this person influenced the victim's decision to fatally stab a policeman. The father of John Brown compared this man's death to the beheading of John the Baptist. This man's death took place I shall love joy for 6 points. Okay, so can we verify the scores after question 20 for everybody else?
I have Nicholas at 0, Drew at 9, Shree at 12, Parker at 9, and Evan at -3.
Okay, all right, 21, second through 6th still at stake. During this period, a group with a name meaning continuous struggle targeted the National Agricultural Bank. A black prince helped plan an attempted coup during this decades-long period. A series of strikes demanded pay raises during the hot bottom of this period. For 55 days of this period, one leader was held in captivity and later killed by the Red Brigades. Years of lead. Yes, that's good for 5. Lead is in yellow. Yeah. Toss of 22. The namesake figure in this work is settled after a variety of fortunes near the banks of the River Delaware. A similar work by J. Hector St. John de Crevecoeur may have been inspired by this piece, which was written in response to the Townshend Acts. An American figure comparable to Cincinnatus is the central figure in this work, whose author would draft an olive-green petition. For the points, named a series of essays by John Dickinson that took a pastoral writing style to advocate against British taxation. Time, this is letters from a farmer in Pennsylvania. Toss of 23. Grover Norquist managed this man's campaign as national president of the College of Republicans, after which he spent a decade working in film production, including producing and writing the Angolan Civil War drama Red Scorpion. While working for the government of the Northern Mariana Islands, this man successfully lobbied Congress for exemptions from labor laws. This man's downfall came when his activities on behalf of 7 different tribal groups ensnared Congressman Robert Nye and other politicians. Exposed by a Earl Devaney for the points, named this American business, whose gross overbilling of his Indian reservation clients led to a bribery scandal in 2006. Abramoff is good for 3. Just 3. 24. Diodorus claims the winning commander of this battle was able to cross one feature unopposed because the defending forces were told not to move for the rest of the day. The winning commander of this battle enslaved 2,000 mercenaries for fighting against the fellow Greeks. Time, sorry. This battle's winning commander is saved from Mithridates by Cletus the Black.
Battle of this one?
-2, ensuring victory over Darius III. Granicus River is present for 25. Of this man, William Wilberforce once said he knew no equal in terms of personal purity, disinterestedness, and love of this country. Only Robert Walpole served along. Pitt the Younger, nice buzz for 5. 26. This man was convicted of crimes against humanity in 1946, responded to his sentencing by saying, "Death by hanging. Well, in view of the whole situation, I never expected anything different." This man served in the Third Reich as deputy governor of the general government of occupied Poland and as commissioner for the occupied Netherlands. Responsible for the deportation of Dutch Jews, this is, for points, what man who served for 2 days prior to the Anschluss as Chancellor of Austria? Kaltenbrunner, -1. Time, this is Arthur Seyss-Inquart. Toss of 27. First published in January 1908, this work was written by a British officer who established the site of Ramsey Island for the Central Individuals. That man who founded the organization that relied on this book had successfully defended Mafeking during a siege in the Second Boer War. Sections on tracking, mountaineering, and pathfinding can be found in this work, which was written prior to the Volksclub's handbook. Written by Robert Baden Powell for the points. The Boy Scout Handbook. The Boy Scout Handbook for 4 points. 28. A St. Albans Abbey tomb allegedly containing this man's remains claimed he was rich in nothing but in memory. This man's description of the castle Sparrowhawk is thought to have been derived from The physician Jehan de Bourbon compiled the writings of this man. Cormorants described by O'Doric are represented as little beasts in one of a number of appropriations that this man has been accused of. His experiences in Egypt and Asia are chronicled in a work compared to one by Marco Polo. For the points, named the supposed French knight who published a book about his travels outside of Europe. Time, this is Sir John de Monteville. I hadn't heard of him either. 29. This man, who was appointed U.S. Deputy Secretary of Defense in 1963, served on the NAP Commission that analyzed case corruption in New York City following the accusations of former officer Frank Serpico. As Secretary of State, this man, Cy Vance is good for 5. 30, and then we'll verify the scores. The GAO investigated claims of a rivalry involving Eric Wixson and Randy May in the aftermath of this event. This event occurred at 7:36 local time after departure from another country's Interlink base. Taking place during Operation Provide Comfort, this event resulted in 26 total deaths. This event came about from the misidentification of 2 vehicles as Heinz and bore similarities to an incident involving a Sikorsky craft during Battle of Mogadishu the year prior. For the points, named this 1994 friendly fire incident in Somalia that resulted in 2 American helicopters being shot down. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, it's it says except Black Hawk Down. This is specifically the 1994 Black Hawk shoot down incident, but it says except Black Hawk Down on the page, so that's good for 3. Okay.
So, with 5 questions remaining, we have Nicholas at 4, Drew at 10, Shree at 29, Parker at 7, and Evan at 1. So second place we have Shree, and third place we have Drew.
Okay, all right, 5 to play. 31. In a piece for the National Anti-Slavery Standard, this person described educating former slaves as a way of unlearning internalized white supremacy. As part of a revenge scheme, an attempt was made to sell this woman's 2 children to different states, but were instead bought by their father, Samuel Treadwell Sawyer. This person escaped the sexual harassment of James Norton by hiding in a tiny crawl space above her grandmother's home for 7 years. For the points, named this American escaped slave who wrote Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. Time, this is Harriet Jacobs. 32. Along with the work depicting St. Francis, one of this man's paintings of the Virgin and Child was robbed from the San Francesco in Pisa by Napoleon's forces. In the Commedia, Dante notes how this artist held the field until he was eclipsed by a pupil, an unusually large amount of space in the center. Now, next 2 gives a 3-dimensional quality to the Santa Trinita Maestra of this painter, whose best-known student created a series of frescoes for the Arena Chapel. Often considered the greatest painter of the 13th century. For the points, who is this Italian painter who taught Giotto de Bondone? Time, this is Cimabue. Okay, 3 to play. 33. One woman of this surname used the pen name Esther Wyndham and wrote notable biographies of John Ruskin and a figure central to theosophy. Jiddu Krishnamurti, central to theosophy, Jiddu Krishnamurti. Aside from Mary, a woman of this surname designed a stone of remembrance in memory of those who died during World War I, as well as a palace for Osman Ali Khan, the final Nizam of Hyderabad. That man may be better known for a memorial found on the Rajpath called the India Gate. That Englishman of this surname designed many landmarks in New Delhi. For the points, give this surname of an architect Edwin. Time, this is Lutyens. 34. This class received a total of 18 votes of the 193 in the Centurion Assembly. Due to being exclusively available for senior officer positions, this class was replaced in the military units with which they were most strongly associated. This property-based class ranked just under equestrians is good for 5. Okay, let's verify the scores before the final question.
Okay, so we have Nicholas at 7, Drew at 10, Shree at 29, Parker at 7, and Evan at 1. So we have In second place, Shree with 29. Third place, Drew with 10. And a tie in fourth place between Nicholas and Mark.
Okay, here it is, 35. In a cartoon titled The Modern Movement, a man asks a member of this faction to stop and then informs them of the location of the house. Samuel Beardsley was a member of this faction which split into the Hards and the Sloughs. A group opposed to this faction derived its name from the practice used to end rat infestations. William Varsity was a member of this group which evolved out of the Albany Regency. Free Soilers were opposed by members of this area. Hunkers is correct, and that's good for 4 points. And that congratulations, you're in third place. In 6, congratulations. And final toss-up to read, just to Nicholas and Parker. 2 Floridians. And this to determine 4th place, just for the 2 of you. Remember, on tie breaks, there are no negs, so somebody has to get one right. You cannot make yourself out of the potential guess. Okay? Toss-up. Edward Luckhoo served as the last governor general of this country, where Arthur Chung served as its first president. Forbes Burnham led this country's transition to a republic, though his regime rigged elections until the eventual rise to power of Chetty and Janet Jaga. This Caribbean country, whose 6 peoples, including Indian settlers, was merged from the colonies of Berbice and Demerara Esquivo. For the points, name this country that was conquered from the Dutch by the British, unlike neighboring Suriname. Guyana is correct. Thank you very much. I know that we might be a little quicker than the varsity, maybe not, but if I want to jump into the big room, it would be best if we all did that at the same time to catch the last toss or 2 of the varsity final, after which we will immediately do awards. So quiet though.